My name is Manuel Eisner. I am Wilson Professor of Criminology at the Institute of Criminology at the University of Cambridge. My main research area is violence research, so I'm interested both in differences between individuals and between societies in levels of violence. One of the fascinating things about levels of violence is that societies differ enormously in how violent they are. If you think about the most peaceful societies in the contemporary world, they have about 0.3 homicides per 100,000 inhabitants. The most violent societies in Central America have about 200 to 300 times more homicides per capita than the most peaceful societies. So the question is, well, why do they differ so much? And we are exploring the ways in which social structure and political processes contribute to levels of violence between societies. At the same time, we're interested in differences not just between countries, but also within countries. For example, in any city, there are big differences between neighborhoods and streets that are high in violence and that are low in violence. We have some good research suggesting that about 95% of all calls because of a violent event are concentrated in just about 5% of all streets in any given city in any given moment. And we're trying to understand why sometimes violence goes up and why sometimes violence goes down. Just to give you one example here, Jamaica at the moment is one of the most violent societies on earth. Singapore, on the other hand, at the moment is one of the least violent societies on earth. However, before the two places became independent in 1960, about 50 years ago, they were almost the same in terms of homicide rates and in many other structural ways. So we're trying to understand why they went into different directions. And I want to give you one example of what we believe may be responsible for these differences in trends. We believe that one of the important things that pacifies society is that rule of law is effectively established in a society, and that people, including young people, adolescents, believe in the rule of law, that complying with rules is actually worth it. Why is this important? Because in evolutionary terms, humans, and especially male humans, have developed a sense of taking revenge in their own hands. And what the state does, what the justice system does, is to convince people that it's better that some authority establishes justice and establishes some equilibrium between wrongdoing and doing justice. And we believe that in most societies where violence is very high, there is a lack of belief, a lack of trust in the rule of law and in the functioning of institutions. But we are also interested in how these differences are related to child development. So we are currently doing a big piece of research where we compare children growing up in 8 different societies across the world, including Jamaica, Ghana, South Africa, Pakistan, Romania, Sri Lanka, Vietnam, and the Philippines. And we start with this research not with the children, but we start even before these children are born, namely during the pregnancy of the mothers. Why? Because we believe that exposure to violence during pregnancy of the mothers changes already before the children are born the way they function, the way their brain develops, and we want to capture this decisive part of their development in the first 1,000 days, and to turn this into powerful advice to policymakers about how to better support pregnant women and children in the first stages of their life to reduce the risk of violence in these societies.